Ladies and gentlemen, Ice Cube's War of the Worlds, streaming on Amazon right now, is officially ranked one of the top 100 worst films of all time.
Oh my God.
This colossal failure is truly a magnificent feat that honestly is well deserved. I know, because I watched the film myself, but I'm not just here to dunk on this movie like everyone else.
That's too easy.
Actually, I have a theory on why it turned out so bad. It speaks to something much more sinister going on in Hollywood. Before I share my theory first, never forget I'm a troll. We are not pivoting into any type of conspiracy theories before I dunk on War of the Worlds. War of the Worlds is a new live-action take on the classic book of the same name released by H.G. Wells in 1898. Notice how I said this is a new take because this isn't the first time this book has gotten a live-action movie. Matter of fact, if this film title sounds familiar, it's because there's been more than 10, I repeat 10, theatrical releases based on this one book alone. Hollywood is not beating them, they've run out of idea allegations.
No way, no how.
There was one in 1953, 3 in 2005, 1 in 2008, 3 in 2012, and another in 2023 before the recently released 2025 version.
Damn. I'm sorry.
War of the Worlds didn't just survive aliens, it survived Reconstruction, Jim Crow laws, and even segregation. So it's funny, the latest version stars a black man named Ice Cube of NWA fame and a Hispanic woman named Eva Longoria from Desperate Housewives. With 10 to 15 various adaptations of this book circulating in the wild, one might wonder what makes this version stand out from the pack. The first thing is, the creative choice of making the lead actor never step foot outside. Instead, Ice Cube plays a government-backed surveillance agent named William Rafford who's locked in a bunker the entire film while the world is being invaded by aliens. From his bunker, he utilizes all his cool Disney Channel hacker skills to aid in the fight against the aliens when he's not busy spying on his family who hates him. It honestly felt like the writers behind this film sat down and had an emergency meeting centered around how they could produce a piece of content that the youth of today could relate to. For the longest, Hollywood has followed certain tropes when it comes to leads in action films. Most action films are dominated by hyper-masculine characters like Rambo, Die Hard, and John Wick, and in the previous adaptations, the star was a conventionally attractive masculine male taking on the alien threat, i.e. Tom Cruise. The people in the writer's room most likely felt like that wouldn't resonate with the kids of today, even when the ticket sales of Superman have been over 9,000. That's when someone in the room had a brain blast like Jimmy Neutron and said, what if we made a film about fighting aliens? But because a Discord mod is not considered cool, someone then adds on to the idea by saying, sitting at your desk like a typical streamer is lame. So what if we made that Discord mod Kai Cenat, aka a cool black guy? I just know everyone in that mayonnaise boardroom was thinking,
Touchdown. Touchdown. Touchdown.
well, bad news for everyone. This might be a shocker, but it wasn't a touchdown. This is honestly one of the worst films that I've seen in recent memory, and I think it's a shoo-in for a Razzie Award. The only genuinely positive thing I can say about this film is the camera they used on the actors was crystal clear. Shout out to Ice Cube, you're aging well, brother. You look very handsome in the movie, but that's about it. But here's the catch. That's okay, because although I can acknowledge this film is horrible, I have to admit, this is the good kind of horrible. This is the type of project where if you're having a bad day or you feel shit about yourself, it's gonna lift your spirits up because it'll make you think, well, at least I ain't never produced anything that bad. This is the type of film you put on when you're drunk or high with your buddies and you just laugh your ass off. I personally believe the worst kind of content is the kind that's just middle of the road and makes me feel nothing. Art is supposed to evoke emotion, so when it doesn't, it becomes unbearable. That's why personally, I enjoy really great art, but I also enjoy a good train wreck. If you approach this film as if it was a comedy instead of an action film, I promise you're gonna have a good time because the memes are top tier. I believe the writers even knew halfway through production this shit was ass. But the problem is, Amazon had already cut the check, so everyone was just staring at each other on set like, lockdown. The acting is terrible across the board. It's that campy B-movie flavor, but what makes it funny is everyone either took their lines too seriously or they didn't take them seriously enough. The actors just never hit that right chord when it comes to the delivery, so it feels like it's all over the place. A great example of this, and one of my favorite scenes in the film, comes towards the end. Ice Cube's character finally leaves his Discord server to upload a virus and attempt to kill the aliens, right? And when he's running through the server room, he gets tripped by an alien, and in the midst of defending himself, for some reason he quotes a Ludacris song.
Get out the way.
Now, one of the funniest things I've not seen anyone else talk about in regards to this film is the blatant product placement. I kid you not when I say this. This is the most egregious product placement I've ever seen in a movie. For those unaware, product placement in all forms of media, whether it be movie, TV shows, or video games, is a way of supplementing income and offsetting some of the production costs of producing the film. The advertiser gets to get their product in front of millions of eyeballs, and the production studio gets help with funding their film. It's a win-win situation when done tastefully, meaning not excessively. A great modern example of this would be Bumblebee be in the 2007 Transformers film. I don't know about you, but I was fiending to cop a yellow Chevy Camaro after seeing Megan Fox just lean all over it. A great older example would be the use of Reese's Pieces in the 1982 film E.T. Sales for that candy shot through the roof after that cute little alien ate that stuff. And seeing as E.T. is an alien movie, and so is War of the World, it's crazy to see how much they messed up considering they already had the blueprint for product placement right in front of them with E.T. Amazon somehow failed an open book test, and it makes you wonder,
What are they doing?
I think Amazon read the script and they just knew they was in trouble. But since they already greenlit the project, they decided they were gonna stuff this movie with so many ads so that if nobody streams it, well, at least they can still make the money back off of ad placements. Yeah, guys, it's that bad. And if you don't believe me, I wrote down a list of every product, brand, or IP that I spotted in this film, and feel free to leave a comment below if I missed one. That list of brands includes YouTube, TeamViewer, Facebook, Fox News, Zoom calls, Apple, Tesla, BBC News, Google, Microsoft Teams, Windows 11, CNN, Twitter, WhatsApp, MetaQuest 3, Joe Rogan Podcast, Agent Coulson from Marvel, and the boyfriend of Ice Cube's daughter was an Amazon delivery driver. I had spotted so many brands that halfway through this film, I thought to myself about how Amazon's Lex Luthor recently hosted this big $50 million wedding. And look, guys, I know he's a billionaire, but this movie did have me thinking.
Do you need some money?
And can I just add to the Amazon delivery driver part since we're here right now? Not only did the boyfriend work for Amazon, but the film goes out of its way to remind you at least 3 to 4 times when he pops up in that uniform driving that stank ass van. He also made it seem like being an Amazon driver was fun or cool, not sweaty and low paying. Then there's a scene where the aliens flip over a drone the crew was using to fight the aliens. It lands near a homeless man's tent, so Ice Cube and the gang offer him a $1,000 Amazon gift card to flip the drone back over so they can regain control. This whole film felt like Amazon propaganda, and I'm here to say, dear Lex Luthor, we're not falling for it. It's no secret Amazon is a bunch of union-busting bitches who overwork and underplay their employees who often end up injured.
Put her on Amazon to activate the drone.
Nuts.
The editing in this movie is terrible too. This is the first movie where I could visibly see the jump cuts between different takes on the same scene. You could tell the editors just plugged in what they thought was the best delivery for each line from different takes for the same exact scene. I would have hated to be an editor for this film. It's full of terrible camera angles, the plot is weak, and the action is subpar. I can't recommend it enough. This is the best 2 out of 10 that I have seen in a long time. You ain't gotta rush to watch it, but I think you should add 2025's World of Worlds to your Amazon Prime watch list. Just wait to check it out when you bored with nothing else to watch. You're doom scrolling and being indecisive when suddenly your scroll stops on this film and you say to yourself,
There, what's that?
now with my review out of the way, I'd like to pivot this conversation to something I alluded to earlier in this video. I have a conspiracy theory about this film, and I'm most likely wrong. Don't chew me up too much if I'm proven wrong at some point down the line. If my theory does end up being right, I will be shouting.
Got him. Got him.
So bad acting, product placement, and memes aside, another reason this film is terrible is due to its use of CGI. I question whether or not a proper animation team was even hired to animate the action in Alien. All throughout my time watching this film, I caught myself pausing and staring at the B-roll and action scene. I've seen better animation on Newgrounds in 2005, back when I was supposed to be doing my schoolwork in computer science class, than the stuff that I've seen in this film. So the Curious Academy did a little digging on the official IMDb page, and there was a bunch of VFX and CG artists listed on the team, but some didn't sit right with me. I mean, the B-roll with all the soldiers and the planes riding into action seemed just a little too sterile, unhuman-like, if you will. I didn't see any names on the uniforms either. I couldn't find any credits on the IMDb page for the people who played soldier number 3, 5, and 6, you know, the extras, almost as if they weren't real people. So it got me wondering, is part of the reason this film is so ass is because it used AI to generate some of the action sequences? I mean, it's more than possible. We're still in the early stages of AI, and look what Google's VEO 3 model is capable of producing already.
Keep your hands off, Wonder Woman. That's my future baby moms.
Dude, I'm gay. I'd prefer Mr. Freeze cold gun in my butt over Diana.
It's also no secret that Hollywood is financially struggling. The big three of Disney, Warner Bros., and Universal all have their own internal problems. Disney's pumping out too many sequels. There's Marvel fatigue, and they've had low ticket sales in the movie theaters. Warner Bros. Streaming services are bleeding subscribers. Its gaming division almost committed seppuku this year, and they recently had to lay off 10% of their staff. Universal's theme parks have inconsistent crowds, their overhead has increased, and they haven't put out enough hit movies to justify any of it. The point is, Hollywood is a business, and corporations corporations are always trying to find a new way to make or save a dollar, even if it's at the expense of the creative people who help build the brand. So why would a movie studio swap real people for AI? By using AI for activities that used to need real writers, illustrators, extras, and post-production teams, major studios may save tens of millions of dollars, sometimes up to $40 million on a $200 million budget. Costs can go down by 50 to 95% using tiny AI-driven firms. This means that one person with software can do the work of hundreds. And this extreme cost cutting is already changing the industry. And spectators, meaning you, or maybe someone who looks like you, often doesn't know what's manufactured by AI and what's made by real people.
What'd you say?
Now, as an American, I can't speak for the rest of the world, but I once read a study that stated only 30% of Americans could correctly identify AI-written content. Couple that with the fact that, sadly, more than half of Americans read below a 6th grade reading level, and it becomes easy to deceive people. I mean, just look at all the boomer and zoomers engaging with bots and AI videos on Twitter and Facebook. That alone backs up the data. It also doesn't help that AI is now strong enough to write, edit, and direct emotional performances. Some production studios are utilizing algorithms that create optimal emotional curves, and they give actors on auditions emotional alignment scores that end up changing the script lines and stages based on what the machine says in real time. Actors on auditions have complained how hard it is to match the machine calibrated emotion. Sometimes they had to follow the AI generated cues instead of their own tuition, and the AI's facial compatibility score decided who got hired and how they were directed on set. The problem is that AI written performances typically don't have the same emotional depth and complexity as actual human writers, which makes actors seem more mechanical in some of the recent films.
Oh shit, they're in hyper download.
The War of the Worlds is very mechanical and robotic. I mean, the IMDb page lists real people as writers. Well, who's to say they didn't have a little help from a fucking clanker? Especially because the page only lists 3 writers for this movie. With these AI firms, as stated earlier, they often work in small teams to do all the work, sort of like a 3-man team of writers. Now, does that mean they used AI to write its script? No, I can't stress that enough. I mean, this movie could have just been straight up ass, but I do believe this film's writing is very robotic, and that's what makes it a prime suspect. And the harsh reality is that I don't know if this AI movement in film can be stopped. It's already been backed by several major directors in the business. James Cameron and other top directors are already employing AI in movies like the next Avatar, Fire and Ash to improve visuals and performance capture, but they still claim to make the creative decisions themselves. David Ellison, the new head of Paramount, has promised to create a studio in the cloud where AI is used at every level. Sony's CEO is publicly supporting AI-led projects. Meanwhile, automated camera systems and AI cinematographers are making things easier on the technical side by occasionally programming shots, lighting, and angles that trained crews and directors of photography used to have to figure out themselves. Guys, robots are doing all of this work, which means more people are at risk of losing their jobs, which I'm never a fan of. It also means the arts are at risk of losing that human emotion and depth that we love in our movies.
It's you! It's you!
Yeah. Well, yes, kind of.
How could you,
Yeah.
man? How could you?
Several major films have already implemented AI into their workflow that you most likely weren't even aware of. Shang-Chi used deepfake AI to put the faces of the main actors on the bodies of the stunt doubles to make the battle scenes look more realistic. The Flash used the same tech as Shang-Chi, which shows how hit or miss this tech can be, and Mad Max Furiosa's AI mixed the faces of child and adult actors and brought back a deceased actor to play a pivotal role in the film. The point is that this stuff is already being used in big budget movies, so of course it's possible to be implemented into smaller budget projects like War of the World. I'd argue smaller projects would have a harder time resisting these AI tools, seeing as their budget is tighter and it allows them to get, and I'm using quote fingers here, more for less.
Clever little shit.
As stated earlier, the most sus thing about War of the Worlds is the action sets. I mean, it's a lot of quick jump cuts throughout the action as if they were trying to hide something. And that something could be a lack of detail in the CGI scenes because they were generated by AI and AI struggles to do the little details. Just understand, this is all speculation from my end. I don't have any actual proof about what I'm talking about. What I do know is that if they are using AI on this film and it's generating new subscriptions for Amazon Prime, I could see this film being a catalyst and a pipeline for more cheaper straight to streaming content. Think of it as like a new era of straight to DVD slot for streaming platforms and created by fucking wirebacks. I mean, just think about it from the perspective of Lex Luthor and that government lizard Mark Zuckerberg. Their only concern is lowering their overhead so they can maximize their profit. And if they can do that with these budget AI films and that generates new subscriptions for their platform, then that will appease the greedy CEO billionaires, the executives right below them, and their shareholders.
No! No!
Honestly, I hope that I'm wrong, and this is just a case of this movie fucking sucks, but ultimately, I can't rule out anything this day and age, because the reality is that the 1% of the 1% of the 1%, as Bernie Sanders likes to say, has this strange obsession with growing profit margins. I mean, these people don't give a fuck who loses their job. Hell, these people don't even understand that there are only so many people on earth who are gonna be interested in their product. So no matter what they do, you're not gonna be able to capitalize on 100% of the human population as customers so long as we have free will. And you think people who are that greedy aren't capable of finding ways to cut corners on a straight to VHS Tubi ass movie? Ninja, please, use some critical thinking. But hey, I'm just saying. You know, since we're on the topic of lowering overhead to maximize profit, did you know there's a reason we get several seasons of shows such as Love Island and Love is Blind every year? These reality dating shows are cheap to produce because they barely pay the participants and they reuse the same sets every season. But the return, they get high ratings, new subscriptions, and being the buzz of social media. The problem with these love shows is I feel like they don't really live up to the idea of what they're pitching. The show is called Love is Blind, but everyone on there is at least somewhat attractive. So how is that putting the real in reality TV? Now, in my last video, I explored the concept of attraction based on science, plus I make some interesting suggestions on how I believe they can make that show even more entertaining, plus actually prove love is blind. And all you gotta do is click the card on the screen to watch if something like that interests you.